All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Fantasy Football Harsh Reality. I'm your host, Greg Romero Wilson, and I know it's been difficult to just look at my ugly mug for the last couple of weeks and just hear my grating voice for 30 to 45 minutes, so I've brought in some other people to bring some fresh sounds and perspective to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Freddie Lockhart, everybody. Freddie Lockhart.
Hi.
How are you? Right? And back there, Jeff Schimmel, everybody, which
Ew.
Jeff has never done fantasy football until this year, so it's going to be fun to get some of his perspective. This is his first year, very intelligent guy, and just got his first win last night in our production office league, the one that I'm commissioning, and I dropped to 0-4 in a 1-point loss. But that was not the worst beat that I suffered. So let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about the week that was, week 4. What a strange week in the NFL in general. I mean, first of all, the Bills beat Atlanta in Atlanta.
Right.
That was a mind blower.
And then what do we end with is the Rams.
The Rams beat the Cowboys in Dallas. My Cowboys. Normally, I'm always in Cowboys gear. I forgot we were doing this today. So now that I've jumped off the bandwagon, I haven't jumped. I'm a lifelong. I grew up in Dallas. I'll never jump off the bandwagon. What were some other big upsets? There were a couple of big ones. Carolina beating the Patriots in New England. Yeah. Another huge surprise. I'll tell you what, though, it did demonstrate. It demonstrated the value of Tom Brady, because even in not a good game, he still managed to put up 25 fantasy points.
Yeah, he exceeded his
or 30 in one league. In one league, I had 30, and I was playing against Deshaun Watson. There's another one, Houston. Who was their big win over? They had the big win this week.
I didn't have anybody on that team, so I didn't care.
I know, that was the same.
But there was another big upset, was the Houston win. And Deshaun Watson, 5 touchdowns, okay? He threw for 4, ran one in. His total score, 35 points. Tom Brady's, 30 points.
Right.
So despite the 2 performances, that's why I went high in 2 leagues to get Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Because there's just no comparison to having Tom Brady.
Hey, I've got him too. I saw a statistic the other day that said he gets to the Super Bowl 49% of the time.
Yeah.
Where the comparison was funny that, and I think
the fantasy football Super Bowl.
Yeah. But even in his real life, he gets to the Super Bowl 49% of his career. He gets to the Super Bowl.
Wow, what a career!
And then they made that comparison that something like they said a basketball player like Westbrook or somebody makes 49% of certain 3-pointers or something. You're more likely to go to the Super Bowl with Tom Brady than you are to get a 3-pointer. It was just such an amazing, fascinating, wow, that's how impactful he is.
He really is, and that's the thing. I reached out for him high in those 2 leagues. I didn't even have a shot at him in our office league because he went at the end of the first round in our league to a team that's doing great, the Winter Hill Hooligans by Jay Hollingsworth. So that spurred me to go high for him in my other leagues, because I just remember every time playing against him, he's going to get 30 points, and it's such an advantage to know your quarterback's going to get the job done. And it's kind of weird that people are like, don't go early for a quarterback. And I'm like, no one's going to score more points than Tom Brady.
Right.
I mean, it's as close to a guarantee as you're going to get.
Yeah, no, he delivers every time. Every single time he delivers. Even when the first week, I still got a good amount of points out of him, even though
even though he lost, he still put up 28 fantasy points.
Right.
Like, the guy just produces points one way or another. He's unstoppable in that department. Even when he's not playing good, he's still great.
Knock it out back there.
No, I bet $5 that he'll have a career-ending injury this season. So
and bring it in the rain, throwing shade, and this is why we have him here, Jeff Schimmel, everybody. In case we were a little too high, there he was to ground us, to bring us back down to earth. Because let's be honest, and we touched on this a little bit before we started recording. The real difference between a lot of these teams that are dominating in their league and the teams that are struggling is, of course, the injury bug.
Yeah.
It hits some teams earlier and stuff. Like for me, in our league, I've gone 0-4, but I had David Johnson. I had the top pick.
Yeah.
Went out quarter 3 of week 1 before he'd really even done anything. I think maybe in quarter 2.
Yeah.
So that one injury has really kind of just made things start falling downhill for me. That and some bad bets. I think now, after week 4, where we've passed 25% of the season, I think there's some guys that we can officially say are a bust.
Yeah. Well, who do you start with the bust?
For me, right now, Marshawn Lynch. This is a guy that when I saw him in preseason, everyone's like, don't worry, they're going to keep on a pitch count. I'm like, yeah, but he was running. I mean, beast mode was back.
Right. Right.
And the last time you saw a generational running back like this take a year off and come back, it was Adrian Peterson, and he came back and led the league in rushing.
Yeah.
And I thought, he's rested. He's playing for his hometown. To me, it was a perfect storm for total beast mode.
Yeah.
You know, surprise everybody. And now I'm beginning to see he's more like a professional football tourist who has decided he just wants to wear the uniform and get a really good seat for one of his favorite teams last year's in Oakland.
You think he's calling it in now?
I think he's undoubtedly, because you don't see him like, hey, put me back in, coach.
Right.
He runs 3 times, put on his fucking beanie, and then just sits outside and goes, I wish this were going differently.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between him coming back and Adrian Peterson coming back, because Marshawn came back kind of, I think, out of like boredom or something, or he just wanted to be a Raider. Adrian Peterson had to come back on fire to prove that there was more to him than just beating up kids. He had to do it. Marshawn doesn't have anything to live down.
Laying down the hard truth.
Yeah.
Jeff Schimmel, everybody. I love it. No, but you're maybe that is the thing.
That could be a factor.
Maybe, but I thought he still had the fire in the belly, and that's what I was measuring.
You know what I don't wonder is if Marshawn runs off of almost just God-given talent, and it was like, here you are, you are a beast. You are just a junkyard dog. And I feel like even as a kid, he was that way. He couldn't tackle him, whereas Adrian has built kind of a perfect physique.
A perfect machine.
You know what I mean?
And absolute. And that brings us to big bust number 2, Adrian Peterson. A guy I drafted in all 3 leagues. And
I wouldn't touch him. He's broken my heart too many times.
I know.
Injury prone, so injury prone.
But when he's on, it's the most glorious thing. I remember when after that injury, and then he came back, his first run, he broke it to the right all the way for like a 64-yard touchdown. And I mean, I was shooting loads in my pants. I was like, I knew it. I fucking knew it. And now, I mean, we all knew there would be this possibility of a share, but I thought maybe, you get someone like Adrian Peterson, and it opens the passing game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you keep him in as a decoy so that they have to play him, and then you zing all the way down the field, and that has not happened.
But in today's league, though, don't you think he's past it? Like, who lasts that long? Who lasts beyond 4 or 5 solid years, you know?
He was one of those special guys that did, and I think let him, and you get some amazing games out of him, and that's what I'm holding on to him. I have to admit, he's such a talented person that I'm holding on to him because Ingram regularly gets injured.
Right.
And I'm really just waiting for that week, and I don't want to have to try and scramble to get him back off the wire. I want to have him locked and loaded, ready to go for the week that happens.
It's hard because I have a bittersweet experience with him. My first year or second year playing, I won the whole thing because of him.
Right.
44 points one day. I was just like, I don't even need to watch the rest of the game.
Totally.
Today.
He was a monster.
Done. Yeah.
It was so beautiful to watch. And watching him run was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like watching Peyton run.
He was a
like they had a
thoroughbred.
style to it, even OJ. I mean, watching was just like poetry in motion.
Yeah, he's an upright runner, and it's fun to watch the upright runners because, it's all in the legs.
Yeah.
He's got
power, just driving with the legs.
He does his squats and his deadlifts, where I feel like Marshawn Lynch eats cake icing and Skittles. And he's still that good.
You're exactly right. You're just
whatever. Just kind of a natural, almost just a natural God-given ability to kick ass like that. But yeah, Adrian Peterson for me was sweet when he won, but bitter after that because I looked for that every season and ended up getting an injured Adrian Peterson and writing it all on him.
Yeah, that's true, man. And that's the thing. He's one of those guys that you could handcuff him with McKinnon or whoever they had at that time, but it wasn't the same.
Right.
It wasn't the same as having Adrian Peterson.
Right.
Somebody like Marshawn Lynch, though, I think you have to sit him down and say, you're carrying this team on your back.
Right.
You're everything to us, and you're going to be the one that wins games for us. But if you don't do that to him, his ego is so out of control that he's just going to not care as much. You have to make him feel like it's all him.
It's all on him, right?
Yeah, maybe that is what it
He'll step up
is.
his game then, but right now he just looks like he's lazy. He doesn't care.
You're right. I mean, I hate to say it, but he really he looks like he wants to get in there, run a few plays, and then just be cool.
But when he tries to hit a hole, he
Yeah.
doesn't try that hard to hit it. he'll run into a couple of guys and just like, all right, let him knock me over.
Yeah, I saw the fight in the preseason, and I think maybe he felt it more in the preseason. Then he got hit a few times, and he was like, oh shit, that hurts. Yeah, you can take me out, coach, no problem. And that's what I'm saying now is that, I got my beanie on, I'm cool.
I'm good.
And he seems to just be enjoying watching the game.
Right, just meet the minimum requirements and do that.
Yeah.
He's not out there he's not, it's a different environment. I feel like playing for a different coach too, maybe playing for Pete Carroll was, he's more inclined to let his guys do their thing, right? Just do your thing. And now he's in a different environment where they don't, like you said, they're not catering to that.
Yeah.
So as a result,
like we'll tell you how many times you'll get the ball per game before we even play the game.
Right.
So you're going to know you're very limited. You can't tell somebody that.
Yeah. Right, because he knows the job isn't on the line. Yeah. The game isn't on his shoulder. You're right.
Right.
He's like, yeah, you're right. I'm only going to get 12 runs, and if there's no time for it, I'm cool. Use the passing back.
Right.
That's sad. You mentioned Pete Carroll. That brings us to Eddie Lacy. Another guy that some people were down on. I liked him because I saw him getting a second chance in Seattle. And Seattle likes power rushers. That's what they do. And in fact, that's kind of what's been hurting him this season is not having a power rushing game. They tried with Chris Carson, and they broke him.
Right.
Because he wasn't a power rusher.
Right.
He was not the kind of running they needed him to do. With that offensive line, very weak, not good.
Not good. Sad.
So sad. But now, Chris Carson taken out in an air cast.
Yeah.
Eddie Lacy gets a second chance.
Right.
Does he come back with fire? Because right now he's a solid bust.
Yeah.
Here's the other. Right. You think he stays on the bust line?
Yeah.
I
hope they bought more than one air cast. They're gonna need an inventory.
Jeff, we gotta get you a mic, man. I'm gonna get you a mic for next week.
I'll let him hold on to it.
No, it's all right. I love the way he jumps in right at the end of those things.
Like, hey guys, we there yet?
And that's the thing is they have this kid. I don't know if you're watching this game, but this McKissick kid came off the bench. Apparently a product of the University of Texas, El Paso. As a graduate of high school in El Paso, it was lovely to see someone from that area also get out there. UTEP, the Sun Bowl. That's right. Which is normally very hard for them to recruit players because it's so fucking hot. Nobody wants to go there.
Do you like the cartel? Do you like
yeah. Do you like having drugs nearby?
Yeah.
So nobody, but this kid McKissick came out, caught 2 touchdowns, was lightning fire off the edge. He reminded me of like when Tariq Cohen for the Bears showed up out of nowhere and started stealing reps.
Yeah. Is he by any chance related to Pebbles? Remember Pebbles, the singer?
Yeah, the singer.
Wasn't her last name McKissick? Because that's not a common name. Maybe he's her kid or something? Black kid,
maybe.
Right?
Yeah,
all right. Well, there you go.
He's an NFL player, isn't he?
Yeah. Possible.
You got like an 80% chance of being right.
Well, that is like an Irish-Scottish name.
There's sometimes sports names, though. You ever notice how many Westbrooks play NFL and NBA unrelated to each other?
Right.
That's not an everyday name. I never heard that name before sports.
No.
Westbrook.
It sounds like an astronaut.
Very busy slave owner.
I was gonna say.
That must have been a real big plan.
I bet I know what the connection is. I don't know what I'm talking about.
What's the common denominator?
It was a very large plantation.
Shaquille O'Neal's not Irish. Go on. I can tell you a bust I've had, and I think he shares, is the Brandon Marshall.
He dumped him week 1.
He was done with him. I'm about ready to get done with him, and as you can see, I've got mine brought up here, and I still got him in my starting lineup. But I think this week I'm going to take.
Well, the thing with Brandon is he has managed to make himself productive.
Right, exactly.
He has started catching, like he's been seeing 7 to 10 targets, catching 5 to 6 of them. So I mean, in terms of a flex position, he's been okay. Now, what you wanted was a wide receiver 2.
Right.
You want a guy who's catching some touchdowns, who's doing some things. He's not doing that, but considering how thin the position has gotten, to be honest, he's got value.
Right.
He has grown into value, and I feel like he's still getting that chemistry down with Eli Manning.
Right.
Potentially by midseason, he could actually be, have decent value.
I can't say he's let me down, but I guess I was looking at him for 13-14 a game.
Right, that's exactly right. You thought he would be getting some deep bombs, catching some touchdowns maybe, and so far none of that has materialized. Most of his passes are under the 10-yard variety. They're slants, they're quick outs and everything. But if you're in a PPR league, that's 6 points right there on the catches. You had some yardage to it. You're getting 9 points out of him, which if you have a good rest of the team, that's a valuable flex position.
Yeah. He's a bum. Let me tell you what his problem is. Okay? No, honestly.
He's a bum.
No,
he's a bum.
He's a
His
bum.
father's a bum.
Yeah.
You're all a bunch of bums.
No, seriously though, there's a theory here. I don't know if you ever heard of the boxer. You really want?
Yeah,
to
yeah. Get on the mic for this one.
Jesus
Sounds like we got a full-fledged theory coming here. I don't want to miss this.
So there was a boxer. I don't think he's out there. He got busted for writing bad checks for a while. Antonio Tarver.
Sure.
So Antonio Tarver was this super middleweight, light heavyweight fighter, and he was, he was good. He wasn't great, but he was good. Right. Well, Sylvester Stallone cast him in the last, not the Creed movie, but one before that.
Rocky
I think
Balboa.
When Rocky fought, whatever.
Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, Rocky Balboa, right.
So
that's right.
Antonio Tarver got to be a movie star. He got paid a lot of money to not get hit.
Right.
And he was kind of, got Hollywood and stars in his eyes, right? And then when he came back after that, he just wasn't the same.
Soft.
I think Brandon Marshall did the HBO TV show.
Right.
And wore beautiful suits and sat there and made fun of everybody.
Right.
And got to say anything that he wanted to say outside the locker room and not get in trouble for it because it was not during a season, right? So he got a taste of, I'm just going to sit here on TV, get paid a lot of money, not get hit, not have to catch it. Yeah, not catch a ball.
A lot of
And now all of a sudden he's back there and he's like, oh man, I got to work out.
Get a violent hit. And that's
I got to get open. Like when I was just sitting there on the couch next to Boomer Esiason, I got paid a lot of money to do nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And not wake up stiff and unable to walk. That's a you know what? That's a good point because once they do get a taste of it, why would I go back and get a concussion, get abused, and have to worry about a 21-year-old taking my job?
Right.
When I was getting craft service.
Well, but at the same time, I mean, he must have come back because he missed the game. He was like, oh my God, I got a chance to really play at a high level again. Let's take it.
Yes, they all do that. That's like somebody like Sugar Ray Leonard saying, oh, I miss it so much.
Right, and then he's like, go pop, 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 and you're like, you know what, I'm cool.
Yeah, it wasn't
I'm cool.
Good.
Or even as comics, we see it. We see somebody like, I've not done it in 15 years, but let me get back in it. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, is he complaining? Is he complaining that they're not throwing to him enough?
No. He actually said he needs to play better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brandon Marshall said, I need to play better.
But shouldn't that tell you something right there? Because a guy that really felt like he was doing well or could do well would say, throw me the ball more. What are you doing?
Right.
You're not giving me a chance.
Right.
Well, but when you have that many drops, talk about drops.
Right.
Let's pivot really quickly to one of the guys that I think so far, Amari Cooper, because he's been given so much opportunity. Then Crabtree goes out, giving him more, giving the opportunity back to him, and he goes dropping the ball again.
No thanks.
You fucking piece of shit. And and I said this in my preseason special that I don't trust Amari Cooper because I've had him for 2 seasons, and that's what you get. You get incredible talent, incredible tease, and then he drops the fucking ball. Don't get me wrong. He's going to have 1 or 2 games where he catches. He's going to do great. He's going to ball out. And that's what keeps you coming back. But it's time to recognize the fact that Crabtree is the far superior receiver.
I recognize
without question, because he's consistent.
I would much rather have him than some big highlight possibly coming down the pike than consistency. And Larry Fitzgerald, I've tried to get for years. I've never been able to get him. Like, just never been able to.
And his consistency, I mean, he started a little slow, but he's fully in the saddle now.
This may have been your last chance to get him.
Yeah, because he probably will retire very soon.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The window's closing on a championship there. Carson Palmer's 1,000 years old. Like, they need to get there.
That's always been their problem. They never drafted a franchise quarterback. They
really
did once with Jake Plummer. And I was a huge Arizona State fan, but I was like, you cannot do this. This is an emotional move right now.
Yeah.
He was good in the Pac-10 back then, and that, so there was an emotional high in Arizona. They're like, yeah, we've got the first draft pick. Let's get Jake to stay. And they did, which he's great. But as you know the rules, college superstar very rarely pans out in the NFL.
Matt Leinart.
Matt Leinart. One right after the other.
Peyton Manning might be the last great quarterback to really pan out with all the wind at his back, and everybody's saying he's going to be the next great because Tom Brady was 3rd stringer.
Yeah, 6th-round draft.
Do you think, because I know you're from Arizona, and don't you think Larry Fitzgerald is probably the luckiest black guy to ever live in Arizona?
Oh, yeah.
He has no shot of getting beat up by police. That's just not going to happen.
Right. right. That's true.
It doesn't matter what part of town he goes to.
He gets pulled over to get pictures taken with him.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Larry.
It was Barkley for a while.
It was. I lived there when the Barkley era. Barkley, he threw a man through a window, and even cops were like, well, the guy was talking smack to him. So,
He asked for it. He looked at you.
Yeah, but Barkley was also Barkley was a Republican black, so they really ate him up there. Yeah, especially back then. But you're right. Larry could be mayor easily of Arizona, and some Suns, but I think Larry, because football transcends more than basketball does.
Yeah.
He's
across
so
the
amazing
spectrum.
over such a period of time.
He is. He's incredible to watch.
Never count the guy
I hate
out.
his hair. Always have. Don't know what's up with that predator hairdo.
Yeah. A bit receding hairline,
like,
but then with the dreads right off
you gotta
of it.
Know where to let go, and it's probably receding because he was pulling them back.
Probably, no, absolutely.
Or it's one of those things where it's like, why the long hair if you're always going to pull it back? I don't get that either. But
black hair is a little different.
Yeah, it is. I know.
I know a little bit. 6%.
Are you? See, I don't know this for sure, but are you allowed to go for the dreads? Like,
yes,
if you're
yes,
in
the NFL, absolutely can.
It's that's the one kind of like FU rule that they've kept. It's like, hey, it's fair game.
Totally. If you're gonna leave them, you can pull them. Yeah.
Okay.
You can't pull on that jersey. Right. But you can but you can grab those braids and I've seen it happen. Yeah. Didn't one guy yank a braid out of somebody last year? Like he got him and just fucking yanked it out.
I don't understand it. If those things are just woven in, right? They're not real hair. I mean, they are real hair, but they're not your real hair.
No, some are.
No, most of the guys are real. It's the girls who get the fake one because they put so much.
Yeah, the guys actually just grow it all the way out and
that's
braid
their hair.
Yeah.
Okay. They should just get fake hair during the rest of the year and during the season.
The wig.
Yeah.
It's funny because all the women have the fake hair because they've done all the product to fry it, and all the men just grow it naturally and keep combing it out, and then do the twist.
It would be great. It would be great to have them only barely attached.
Yeah.
So when people grab them, they're like, they just come off. And you keep running.
Yeah.
I would work to yank them. I would always go for that.
Always, yeah. If they had them every time, just make them pay.
It's like that's what you get.
You decided to wear them. Shit, it's legal. Another guy that I'm worried is turning into a bust, and I went in on a few key pieces that I really thought you could build teams around. Tom Brady, I thought solid, can't go
greatest
wrong.
ever.
The other one was the Seattle defense, which if you look at the top three defenses, Denver has been amazing. They were number 2. Kansas City has been amazing. They were number 3. The Houston Texan defense is really starting to come on now because they love what Deshaun wants to do. But I went with Seattle because the Legion of Boom was back together. They were all healthy.
I guess,
and Sherman is in a contract year. So I'm like, oh man, interceptions, pick sixes. And this week was the first versus Indianapolis in Seattle. Yeah. So I was like, if you don't fucking do it this week, you fucking piece of shit, because they've been very disappointing. But they showed up finally, you cocksuckers.
Oh, boy,
that's the lowest hurdle you can get over. You better fucking do better than that.
Yeah.
So that was really they were one. But the one that's really breaking my heart is Jay Ajayi. This guy, 3 games over 200 yards last year. And I thought he'd build on that. But instead, we're seeing a severe sophomore slump.
Right.
Now, to his detriment, they brought in Cutler.
Yeah.
And watching Cutler play, I'm like, bring back Henny. Put in Henny.
Boy, how does Cutler keep scoring?
How does he get jobs? He's one of those guys. We were talking about this. Some guys just fall ass backwards into good work, into good luck.
I saw that statistic one time that he's the best in the rollout. Don't know why that's significant, but he is the best in the rollout. Completions, whatever, and that's it?
Well, apparently they're not doing that very much.
Yeah, they're not doing that much.
Oh, they're not. He's supposed to pocket passing, but what's going? I don't know what's going on with the guy.
That clip of him in the Wildcat, his effort at the Wildcat.
Yeah.
Literally
oh yeah, he stood there. Yeah. And then they came out. So I mean, maybe they don't play him this week. Maybe Henny gets a chance to lead this team. They need a spark. They need something to get Ajayi going. Right now, they're stacking the box because nobody fears Cutler. Right. They can tell he has no chemistry with his receivers. I think it was a big, fat fucking mistake. And right now, the guy paying for it are owners of Jay Ajayi. They're the ones that are really not seeing the value for this incredible talent that's giving you nothing so far.
Is there any chance that Miami might be able to pick up Todd Marinovich?
No, because I just sold him a bag of junk and he's back on.
Just to replace Cutler. Yeah, because it would be kind of a wash.
Let's see if we get Ryan Leaf out there.
Yeah. Boy, that's still the most famous bust.
Most famous bust of all time, Ryan Leaf.
Ryan Leaf.
And didn't he go off the deep end? And now he's all sober and preaching and shit.
Well, that's right.
Yeah. No, he's out there trying to counsel young players and be like, listen,
no, I'd say Manziel is a bigger bust, wouldn't you?
Possibly. Same level of bust, absolutely.
Yeah, but at least he's on TMZ every other week.
Any chance for him?
Not a chance. I mean, he was undersized.
I know.
He was one of those guys like Drew Brees or Doug Flutie. When you're undersized at quarterback,
you're already up against the wall.
Totally. You already have 3 strikes against you for being short.
Right.
And now, so you need to be the best.
The best.
Every single week, doing amazing. Look at how good Drew Brees was, and they still shipped him out of San Diego.
You know why? Because you need a tall guy to see over those tall linemen. And
that's what the basic math is. But Drew Brees has proved over and over he can. Doug Flutie went to Canada and won multiple championships before coming back. He was so old he could still play, but he didn't have the team or the youth to get it done.
Yeah. so
it was just one of those things where they so with him, with somebody like Johnny Football, has to be amazing, no room for error.
Right.
I mean, this thing, I'm a short guy, and I realized that in athletics right away. Like as a kid trying to do it. When you're little, they give you one chance to prove that you can do it.
Right.
When you're tall, they give you every chance to prove you can't.
Right, because you're at least a presence,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because if they can get you to do it, you're what they want.
Right.
A guy like me, you got to look at Sproles. So exciting. Yet they keep him in this ancillary role year after year.
Yeah.
Of course, they finally give him the rock this season, and he got broken hard.
Yeah.
Fucking blew out his knee and broke his arm in the same goddamn play.
I got rid of him today.
Yeah, well, that's one of those things that makes you feel like, you know what?
Needy to be in that league now.
I was gonna say, God, you did something to piss God off when that shit happened.
Yeah.
Like that, you wake up like, what the fuck did I do to deserve this?
Yeah.
You feel cursed.
I feel like those, especially in the NFL in the last 10 years, the tight ends got strangely even bigger and more athletic.
Yeah.
Now they're not just, they're fast and muscular too.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Go ahead.
But when you see a little guy like Sproles, it's like the small that don't work anymore.
Nah, it's tough. I mean, he's older too, so
yeah.
He came out and boy, they wiped him the fuck out. So, let's talk about a guy who's been a bust, but all of a sudden
is no longer a bust.
It's looking like he's ready to bust out, and that's why I say light that blunt. Because Blount is alive and kicking in Philadelphia, which a lot of people drafted him.
Right.
He sucked for 3 games.
Right.
Everybody dropped him.
Yeah.
Everybody dropped him like a bad habit. And then all of a sudden, now he's getting the ball. And guess who looks good? I'm wondering, can Lacey do what we saw? Although I'm tired of betting on you, Lacey. Although, God damn it, I love you.
For a while, I bet on Lacey.
I don't know why, because I remember the college Lacey.
Because he's a big, thick back. You like that.
And I remember the first 2 seasons in Green Bay, or at least the first season when he was phenomenal.
When was that? What year was that?
Like 4 years ago now.
Okay.
Like 4 years ago.
I could count on him and Jordy Nelson alone to just get me so many points.
Well, season 2, when he started the show, when he started some decline, started putting on the weight, I talked to this gal who was, this beautiful, she was a hot blonde girl who was known for fucking professional athletes. Yes. And she told me she was from the Green Bay area, and she was telling me that, or from Wisconsin, and she was telling me that he was getting a limo on Saturday nights going from Green Bay down to Milwaukee, partying all night, and then taking a limo back and sleeping for like 3 hours before the games. So the fame went right to his head.
The thing I do, which I learned early on, is follow your players on Twitter. Because they will reveal things about themselves.
Hot, juicy tip,
it's a small edge you can get. Or they could be like, icing the ankle, feeling better.
Right,
and that'll give me the relief of maybe he's not out, maybe he's not questionable.
I have 2 comments.
Okay.
One is the story, thank you.
Yep.
I felt like Erin Andrews right now. The first thing is, that story has to be bullshit because there are no hot blondes in Wisconsin.
Boy, you're so wrong. He's so wrong.
Yeah.
Wisconsin girls, I love you.
Annie Hall's from Wisconsin.
But here's the thing, though. John Mendoza, the comic, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know what he did when he was a teenager? What his job was? Come on.
Was he the one that brought drugs to Lawrence Taylor?
No. It was way, way, way before that.
Oh, okay.
No, he
Collected
was.
the tea after it was kicked off?
No. He was Joe Namath's limo driver.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy, he saw some shit.
He told me 10
man.
stories of dropping Broadway Joe off at an apartment building in Manhattan on, let's say, a Saturday night, and actually staying in the car, picking him up Sunday morning, and having to drive the totally out of it, bleary-eyed Namath to Shea Stadium to play the game.
Yep.
So if you ever run into him, you should ask him stories about that because it's pretty amazing. It's what you
Seems
just
like
said
he's
about.
still up to it too, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, no, his
Like,
last run-in on television was him going, "You're pretty, give me a kiss," all wasted, wearing one of his fur jackets.
You never lose that.
You never lose that. But
if you're a hound dog never stops.
It's pretty likable about him though, you know, like it's like this is what you get.
Totally,
like,
it's like this sweet guy because he did seem like a happy drunk.
Right, exactly.
He didn't be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Yeah, it's like he's still enjoying that win, man. That's when he shook up the world. It's like he's still enjoying that, so I'm all right with that.
Let's talk about tight ends because I feel like tight ends are pretty much a bust across the board. There's really only been 2 tight ends that
Gronk
you can count.
Witten.
No, the Gronk and Ertz.
Okay.
Zach
All right.
Ertz.
All right.
Witten has, he had the one big game, and then he had a couple of blue Tarskis.
Right.
0.0.
But here's the thing about tight ends: they can play forever for some reason. You know, they can play into their 40s, and maybe it's just because they're so goddamn big. And
I think it's the sturdy build that they have to have.
Sturdy build, but
the guy that's really broken my heart. Again, I went in hard on him in 2 leagues. Kept Delaney Walker in the office league because that guy's dependable, and he has been pretty good this season, but not as good as the other 2 guys.
I'm starting him currently.
Yeah, but the guy Martellus Bennett. But there have been flashes of him working his way into that offense.
No, I have Julius Thomas on the bench waiting for it, every week.
Put me in. No.
Like, I can't.
Not with Cutler.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. He's a tough one. He's got the talent, but not the team. But that's the thing. Tight ends across the board. Even Kelsey has been incredibly up and down, just like Jason Witten. The only guys who seem to be consistently part of the game plan, although I did for this last week predict a big bounce back game for Kelsey, and I turned out to be right. He had a monster game last night on Monday Night Football. Yeah. So, I mean, I knew he was going to bounce back, but he's like, he hasn't been as consistent as you wanted him to, as you were expecting him to be. Yeah. And then that's it. The rest of them have just stunk.
Yeah, Gronk. Yeah, even like you would thought that I looked to get Gronkowski, surprised how available he was in my league.
Yeah, but he's been pretty big. I mean,
I have him and I have Witten, and I'm 1-3. So
I can't believe that.
Right
now. I would give both of my guys away to get.
Yeah, and then you have that one guy, Mercedes Lewis, gets 3 TDs, and everyone goes and picks him up. I'm like, don't think this shit's happening again. Yeah. That was London. Right. That's like, you know what I mean? That's like getting laid out of town. You're a different guy on that side of the pod. You come back here, you're back to who you really are.
Right.
Yeah. There's something about God Save the Queen that gets people excited for games.
Yeah.
But last night, I watched the end of the game, the Kansas City game with Washington, and I don't know if it was just me. Kirk Cousins looks like he needs antidepressants or something. Towards the end of that game, he looked the picture that he was broadcasting was I can't win.
Oh yes.
Like we cannot overcome this.
The Cutler face.
But it wasn't insurmountable. I mean, they were right there, but he had this look on his face like,
what's the point?
I'm gonna lose. Right. This is it.
And Tom Brady.
Well, and consequently, and then he turned around and threw a pick 6.
Like I laughed at Tom Brady in the Super Bowl when they came back and he had the William Money look in his face. I was like, not even you can get out of this.
And did he?
He got out. That made the drive look like preseason garbage, if you ask me. That was just incredible.
It was unbelievable.
That was everything that had to go right went right, and then he forced everything else to be
right. You know what? And again, that's why I was like, no one else is Tom Brady. You have to have him while he's in the league.
It's that inner thing that you can't get, you can't teach. He just has that thing that Jordan has that I can't lose.
And you wonder, will he retire before it goes off a cliff?
No.
Because,
no.
Manning, I think he will too. I think he'll know when the body can't do the prep the same way.
I think he just did it to make it to 40.
His wife didn't want him to play this year.
No.
He's you know when he's going to quit? He's going to quit when he thinks I'm done, and guys like that never think they're done.
You're gonna think he's gonna.
Well, yeah, because with Manning, if you remember, when it went fast.
Oh yeah,
like he went to shit. And the ball, he could barely get the ball down the field 20. Remember, you throw those walls. You're like,
What season is this for Tom Brady? 17th. 18?
Something like that. 17, 18, 19, something like that.
Remember when we were talking about like Favre? Like, oh, what's he doing? He's 40, but. That's where Brady is. Yeah. He's the most effective quarterback in the NFL.
But it's a little different because, Favre was such a gunslinger, he got riskier and riskier and riskier. Because as his talents diminished, he started just blah! And that's when he became untouchable.
I play so conservative when I go for quarterbacks, and that's why I don't like a lot of the fast, the fast Wildcat ones. I like the three drop step quarterback. I want a standard issue 65.
Right, someone that's going to sling the ball.
Slow motherfucker.
And to that point, Kirk Cousins may have had he may have found it to be a disheartening night because that defense just kept coming back, and the offense kept scoring points too. And when they always keep scoring on you, you're like, how many? I don't.
You do the math.
How can we? We're running out of time. So,
yeah, but you don't walk around on the sidelines showing the rest of your teammates that you're bummed out.
You're the leader. You're the
champion. Yeah, no, you're right.
You don't do that.
You're right. And he came out. Yeah, he came out and threw a pick six.
Yeah,
and that's what you get. But he up until then. He'd had the kind of game that was pretty scary. I mean, you're like, this guy's a fucking gunslinger.
Right.
He was hitting some long balls. He hit that one. Fuck you, Terrell Pryor, for finally showing the fuck up. You were on the bust list until last night, and you caught one pass too many, and that's why I lost. That last one on that drive down the middle, he caught one more pass, and I looked right at my fiance and I go, that pass, I just lost the game on that one fucking pass.
Hilarious.
And so that's what happened. So Terrell Pryor Sr. was another guy. I was worried about him on paper because it looks like it should work. And then we saw that it was not working at all. But then last night, all of a sudden, it decided to click in. So fuck you, Terrell Pryor. You couldn't wait one more fucking week? What a piece of shit. So, so many guys have disappointed.
One thing that would have been really helpful for me, because I've won, thank you.
Okay. Yep.
On a regular football pool, I won 4 out of the last 5 years.
Okay.
And I don't know how it happened. It just kept happening. This is my first time in an actual fantasy league thing. Mm-hmm. It would have been helpful if you would have handed out some kind of printed instructions or whatever.
Orientation.
Like I'm looking at the Q next to the name and I'm thinking, does that mean they're quick? Mm-hmm. Like what exactly does that mean?
Real quick. Our Q is real quick.
To that point, I don't think anyone does that because when you have a new guy, it's almost like you want him totally exactly. It's basically a bye week. Yeah, it's a bye week for everybody that plays.
I play the humble game. My name in fantasy football is bye week. This is my name. So I try to play.
I've tried to play down the smack.
I played the arrogant before. I played before I came out swinging. Literally, my name was "You guys suck" or whatever, And I planned on winning every one of them, but I got humbled so many times that now I'm just bye week. And I actually want people to look at it and think they have a bye week on something and make a mistake.
Let me tell you that I can't. I want to talk shit so much, but it fucks me.
Yeah,
every single time.
Because you know why? Because
the second I open my mouth, when the Giants were getting beat, who was beating them last week? And they were up on them really good, and so I start texting my buddy who's a Giants fan. I'm like, "You guys are getting butt fucked on national TV," and he goes, "Fuck you, fuck your fucking Cowboys, blah blah." And I told him, I said, "You realize me gloating like that means they're about to make a comeback." Seconds later, Eli Manning throws the first of 2 touchdown passes to Odell Beckham Jr. And right then, I was like, I did this with my mouth. I made this happen with my words. My stupid mouth went and said some shit, and that immediately means it's going to go the other way.
Or the arrogance when you think you've wrapped it up, but there's still a Monday night game.
Yeah,
But you're like, he's
not going to get 40 points from one guy.
With a kicker?
That is real, because I killed Tom Petty yesterday. Because about 3 days ago, I was driving, and I thought, oh, shit, remember that music video with Tom Petty when they were driving those futuristic cars down the road, out in the desert? I'm trying to remember the name of the song. It was really a cool song.
Okay.
It just popped into my head, and I was like, wow, Tom Petty. I haven't thought of Tom Petty in years. Boom.
Boom. Dies.
Yeah, it's over. So yes, that is a real thing that does.
So do me a favor and keep me out of your thoughts and prayers.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Mr. Schimmel, I do not. I don't want to be thought of by you like, hey, I haven't thought about. Don't.
But sports is such a different thing, though. People have the weirdest idiosyncrasies and the obsessions and the compulsive behavior and the superstitions are amazing. I think there's nothing more superstition laden than sports.
Oh, absolutely.
I've seen people where they're Laker fans. I'm not. I can't stand them. But someone will be watching a Laker game. Something goes wrong in the game. They have to go in the shower.
Yeah.
Right.
I got to take a shower right now because if I don't, it's over.
Yeah.
So by the time I come out of the shower, the game will have turned
That's
around.
why I feel like Jay Ajayi. I feel like when I'm watching, he sucks. So I'm like, Greg, stop watching, and maybe something good will happen.
Because you're scared. You're embarrassing him.
Right. Let him do his thing. I'm not looking. But that hasn't worked either. To be honest, it hasn't worked either.
This year on Yahoo, have you noticed you don't have to put up the beta version or refresh it, that it's live?
Oh, yeah.
Like I used to be afraid to click the stat tracker because I'll know that wasn't completely live and things could have changed in the minute delay. And I click the stat tracker and be, maybe you're ahead 1 point and you want to just go with this score because you're winning on this one.
Right.
But you put the stat tracker, like, nope, 10 more points just got scored. You're fine.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I can't. It's tough if you watch too much because
there's micro games being played. You need this guy to do that and that guy to do that. You might not need the team to win, but you do need this guy to get.
Oh, and the worst is when you're in multiple leagues and you need one of your guys to do well to win, but you're playing against that player in a different league, and you need him to not do that well, so you can still win that one. So you need this fine line of performance, like good enough for you to win this one, but not so good you lose the other one. And then so now
Precision.
But I gotta tell you, that's what I love about fantasy football. I'm so intrigued by every single play.
Yeah,
it's
made it that much more exciting.
It really is. I mean, last night I'm watching the Redskins versus the Chiefs, and I was riveted.
Right. Yeah.
You roll the clock back 5 years, I'd be like, oh, there's nothing to watch this week.
I watch Thursday night games on purpose. It's incredible.
Me too. It really changes your perspective and your enjoyment of the entire league.
It really does.
You become more a part of the entire process.
It's like the players probably don't want to hear this, but it's more like them. Whereas people are always like they were talking about rooting against teams, and I watched the Jerry Seinfeld thing last night. He made a funny thing, an old bit that he used to do. He did again and said, "You're just rooting for laundry."
Right, right.
None of these guys are from this city.
That's true.
And I've always said it. They don't care about your city. And it would almost be like, and then you get mad when they go to put on other laundry. Yeah. And it would literally be like, it's the only profession where we do that. Like if you worked at a law firm and you went to another law firm, you're like, hey, moving on up, but not in sports.
My wife will occasionally watch football with me, and she always finds it so intriguing that when the game's over, the players from the opposite teams hang out with each other in the middle of the field, and they're talking and whatever, and she's like, why are they doing that? Well, they don't hate each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, they might
were
end
paid
up on the
to play
same,
against each other.
and they might play.
And they may have come from the same college. They may have
Right.
played together for years on a different team.
They've all known each other like we know comedians.
Right,
It's
they
like
come up the ranks together, so they know. Oh, yeah, I remember we were at that, that high school combine together, and we got, you got picked by that school, and I went to that school.
It's
and
just a funny thing from someone outside the game.
It's a funny
Why
ritual.
are they talking to each other?
Right, they just hit each other so hard.
Are they telling each other
other.
secrets? And how come the coaches hug? Aren't they mad one guy lost?
Right.
They're probably going to end up together on some team.
Boy, this is going to sound
happen.
piggyish, but that's men. That's what we can do.
You know what I mean? We set it aside and be cool.
Set it aside and be cool.
We can hug in front of women?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
My wife really screwed me once on football, though. I just got to tell you this. It'll take 10 seconds.
Okay,
20 seconds.
10, 20
30 seconds. Okay. Basically, my wife, I was watching a game. It was the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Oilers at that time.
Love it.
And the score was 38-3. And my wife said, okay, go to Ralph's. I need you to buy these things for me. And I said, I'm watching the game. And she said, what's the score? 38-3. She said, it's over.
Oh, I remember this game.
Yes.
Yeah,
I come back.
Yeah.
41-38 final score. Was a backup quarterback for the Bills. Frank Reich, I think, was it?
For Jim Kelly?
Yes, came in, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
It was a crazy game. This was before TiVo or anything.
Right,
like
yeah.
that.
You either
So
saw it or you missed it.
I went
like
to Ralph's.
89 Bills or something like that, right?
No,
I think it was before
90.
that.
No,
Oh,
it was
it was
like
later?
92.
There's
no,
a stretch
93.
of greatness. From
Oh, yeah.
88.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of a different
I come back
different
from Ralph's. I walk in the door of the apartment. All I hear is the most unbelievable comeback in the history of the NFL. So what did I do? The only thing I could do was to watch that lame ass George Michael sports machine.
Oh, yeah.
And he showed 60
Top
seconds
yeah.
maybe of the whole thing.
Wow.
So I never let her forget that.
The
Even
sports
now,
machine with George
over
Michael.
20 years later,
You bring that up.
when she says,
Well, at
"Can
least-
you go grab this?" No,
No, I can't. The
Well, we
game's
should
on.
have sent you out in this last Super Bowl because you know what I did? I did tune out. I was like, it's lost for you fellas. It's over. It's curtains.
Oh,
It's
right.
Lady Gaga, and then that's that. And boy, was I proven wrong.
Right.
When I saw Twitter blowing.
I did not feel that way at all. I was like, you can't it's never over with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I was like, even if they don't come back and win, he's going to make this a game in the second half. I was even in my mind, I was like, it's not enough. There's no lead that's enough. Not against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Yeah. I was so afraid of it because I wanted Atlanta to win. Right. I didn't want them to get one more Super Bowl than the Cowboys. Right. Or maybe they're tied with the Cowboys now at 5.
Or do they? I think they're tied with the Cowboys if you
at 5, and then they. So I didn't want them to tie the Cowboys. It was all about the Cowboys for me, and I was like, oh man.
But
it's too much time. I knew it was too much time.
Most Super Bowl wins as a quarterback, he finally got.
Right, yeah, because all 5 are his.
Right,
but they just looked so different, Atlanta, in the second half. It's like they came out to protect the lead.
It was going to happen.
That's just like we're just going to try not to lose.
Right, and I've said this before. Prevent defense does one thing. Prevents you from winning the game.
Right.
Never play prevent defense. It's the dumbest thing, and they do it all the time.
Yeah, because you have professionals in it who will not get burnt. A guy running a 4-3 ain't going to get burnt. You know what I mean? So let him keep up with the receiver, because when you soften it like that, now my tight end is going to.
And then they just cut you underneath. Yeah. Zing, 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 zing,
and that's
zing.
Another thing that's great about fantasy is. Even if the team is down, that's when they're thirsty, right?
Totally. Garbage points. Yes, they got to send it down the field. Those plus 40-yard, one reception, plus 40. Oh, all of a sudden your receiver went from 3 points on the game to 11 points on the game.
I love those.
So, and that's the value of receivers. But if he doesn't catch that ball, then you got 3 points.
Yeah.
Why did that guy run it in last night, by the way, at the end of the game? The guy that picked up the fumble and ran it in. Wouldn't it have been smarter just to fall down with the ball?
You know, a lot of times they don't think that, or sometimes you want to get your stats up. You know, he's got a touchdown now.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
In high school, they were always like, fall on the ball, jump on the ball. We don't try to be lumbering down the field with it, but...
right. I mean, it was so close to the end zone, but I just kind of felt like in the old days, that guy just would have...
Fair is fair. We're going to take a knee here. You fellas about it.
Well, they didn't kick the field goal.
Exactly.
They didn't kick the extra point. That was classy.
The funniest thing I always see, because I played defense in high school, and I'll see this happen. I'll see a guy pick it on 4th down, you know, when the other team's got to go for it on 4th down. I was like, you just set your team back 15 yards, you moron. You should have let the guy drop it instead of picking it, or you should have batted it down.
Yeah.
You know, because now the turnover is...
But, you know, you want that stat. You want that pick. You want that fumble recovery for a touchdown. You want the... But you know what I mean? There's a lot of... It's glory. There's glory in that.
Special players who have that right frame of mind to know exactly where they're at on the field. There's some players who can count the hash. Guys used to count the hash stat and know exactly where they are at all times. And, you know, but... I would go for the pick myself, the pick 6. If we were up
absolutely, that's what I'm saying. They can't help it.
Right.
You know, and think about how many times the ball is bouncing behind the quarterback, right? And the defensive linemen are on it. Now, we've heard the announcers say it a million times. We know at home, fall on the ball. But what do? They go for the scoop. Every time, because they want the highlights. They want to dance. They want to be the one chance that they have a defensive player to fucking spike that shit and fucking do the thing. So, I mean, the glory part, you fight so hard, they'll never pass up an opportunity at glory.
I always think of Leon Lett, though.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, boy, don't bring it up. That was so painful.
That happened last week.
So painful. The Leon Lett with the Thanksgiving,
you know,
the Ice Bowl
he
Thanksgiving.
He went into a serious depression from that.
Yeah, well, he cost them the Thanksgiving Day game, which is the second only to the Super Bowl. Thanksgiving, very important to Cowboys fans. Because we always play.
America's team.
We always play. And you know why they always play? Them in Detroit?
No.
Why?
Because the first time they wanted to do it, no one else wanted to play on Thanksgiving. They were the only two teams that were like, all right, we'll play on Thanksgiving. And it was such a ratings bonanza. They were like, we want it every single year. And that's why the Cowboys are on every single year.
Interesting.
Great.
So, all right, well, let's go ahead and let's wrap. This has been a great one. It's been a lot of fun. This has been a good episode of Fantasy Football Hush Reality. Really quickly, who are you targeting on the waiver wire this week because of injuries? You know, Dalvin Cook went down in Minnesota. They're still trying to figure it out. In Seattle, Carson went down.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are still trying to figure it out. They started giving runs to this Penny kid, although it looks like Ellison is really the guy to have there because he's catching balls because he's the pass catcher. So, and of course now you have Sproles out and LeGarrette Blount has been getting. So who's the guy? Because LeGarrette Blount is still available on a lot of waiver wires. I think one of my leagues. So, who are you guys targeting on the waiver wire this week? I know a lot of guys are streaming tight ends. Streaming tight ends has become the thing, too, because nobody's dependable. Who's got a good matchup?
You know, I'm pretty satisfied with who I got, and I'm not going to try to get anybody as far as that is concerned, but I'm thinking about, and you mentioned earlier, I used to switch out defenses every week.
Yeah.
I've got Seattle defense. I started with them, and I still have them.
They had a great game this year, but they're on the road again this week.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, should I go looking? I always go shopping for defenses and kickers. I feel like those are things that.
Yeah, and listen, I picked up Greg Zuerlein this week, and he put up like 27 points as a kicker. So I don't know. Get Greg Zuerlein. The kid's fucking killing it at the Rams.
All I ask is don't go into negative points with the defense, and as a kicker, just make all your field. That's
yeah, just hit them.
Make them all.
Yeah. But I know you had talked about Taylor Gabriel because both Sanu, although we don't know to the extent that they're injured. I don't know how much they're supposed to be kept out. I don't know if you've been following it.
But I got both. I got Julio Jones and Sanu.
And they're both out right now.
Out. So I need somebody. I mean, I like Atlanta, and I'm hoping maybe this guy will do something. But I'm getting rid of Sproles to get him. So
which brings up the question: is Austin Hooper now a highly streamable tight end because they're short of options now in Atlanta?
Yeah, I think so.
I like this McKissick kid. We talked about him in Seattle. The Seattle
Pebble's son.
Yeah, Pebble's son. Yeah, Pebble's son McKissick, because they're looking for a running game. They hope they found it in Carson. Now he's injured. They need it. They're looking for it. And if one guy takes the mantle, they'll let him run that ball. Yeah. And we've seen this before. They let Rawls do it. They let whoever gets hot. He doesn't give a fuck what your name is or how much you're being paid.
You run fast.
You're in, kid. Yeah. You're getting it done. And I got to tell you, as much as I want Lacey to be that guy, I think it's going to be McKissick.
Okay.
That's who I like off the waiver wire this week. Is McKissick. I think but also Blount if he's available. A lot of people say Aaron Jones because Ty Montgomery is injured. But if you get Aaron Jones, you're going to maybe get a couple of games because it doesn't look like Ty Montgomery is exactly out for the season. He may even be back this week. So you could pick him up, but it's you're kind of playing a game with that guy. Yeah. Whereas I think they need to find a guy in Seattle and they need to find a guy in Philadelphia. Yeah. So I think those guys are solid waiver wire pickups this week.
Yeah,
and Taylor Gabriel and Alex Hooper down in Atlanta because with Sanu injured, Julio Jones possibly out this week, those are the guys that are going to have to start getting more balls. Right. Particularly Taylor Gabriel, the guy's a speedster. Anytime he touches the ball, he's like a Tyreek Hill type. Yeah. Anytime he touches that ball, he might take it for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. So, I mean...
You better do something.
Yeah, and let's hope you get him because you have a very deep waiver wire pick. Right. You're like at 11. That's a very difficult place to try and wait for somebody that's that obviously going to have some upside this week.
Especially when you tell everyone to make sure I don't get him.
Well, hey, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? So let's see who else is hot on the waiver wire. Let's look at players. But those are the guys I like. I think Austin Hooper, I think, is going to do some stuff.
Yeah, if I'm pretty okay. This is the first year I've been okay. Well, Matt Forte got hurt.
Also, is it time to pick up Jared Goff? Jared Goff has shown some consistency. He's getting the ball down the field. He's throwing touchdowns. Yeah. I mean, obviously Alex Smith, if he's still out there, you have to pick up Alex Smith, but he's gone in most leagues by now. Yeah. Is Jared Goff pick-upable?
I think you can get bigger names, bigger studs even on your bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you really could. Like right now, who am I got? Last year I had Russell Wilson, but I didn't even start Tom Brady and Russell Wilson. Like that's great alternatives.
Oh my God, yes.
You know what I mean? And he fulfilled the bye week.
Yeah, last year I won a championship. I had Matt Ryan and Andrew Luck, and I was just alternating them. I was basically streaming within my own team between Andrew Luck and Matt Ryan, trying to figure out which one had the better matchup was going to blow up. Yeah. And sure enough, it got pretty easy to predict when one was going to do, and it took me all the way to the championship, and I did it with Matt Ryan.
Oh, did you win last year?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I won one, took second in another.
I think with Goff, I would be careful with that because one day the Rams are going to wake up, they're going to realize they're in Inglewood. Suddenly they're not going to be that happy, and they're going to they're going to figure out how to start losing games. I think they've been pretty lucky. They're
definitely winning.
Well, they could be one of those teams that has just that great out of the gate hot start, and then around game 6 starts losing a little mojo, a little more tape gets out on them.
That's my prediction.
Right, a lot of tape gets out on them. Defenses figure them out a little bit more.
There's a big problem.
Yeah, and that's what you find out.
Wasn't there a new team or an expansion team or a relocated team that came came out swinging like that, like people were like, "Whoa, what are we doing here?" It certainly wasn't Tampa Bay, who lost every game they played in their first season.
Or the Chargers.
Oh, well, when they first started out, the Jacksonville Jaguars and Carolina Panthers both actually went to their conference championships their first years in the league. It was a very surprising thing. Tom Coughlin was leading the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I forgot who was it. I think it was
Del Rio.
No, it was Fisher maybe was in charge of the Panthers. But they both went, in their first years, went to their conference championships. They both lost. But it was pretty amazing to see that happen, especially out of Jacksonville.
I think Jacksonville.
Didn't the Titans win a few games when they came from Houston the first time?
I don't recall.
Yeah.
But they're another team. Boy, I'm waiting on Derrick Henry, boy. I'm just waiting for someone to hit DeMarco Murray low and open that door because the kid, I've been waiting for this the second season. For a runner like you.
Jacksonville has no chance to ever win anything until they change their uniforms. Their colors.
Yeah.
Right now they have white, black, gold, and turquoise, right? Okay. 3 colors maximum. You can't have 4 colors.
Yeah, it's pretty busy.
You gotta tone it down.
Yeah.
Get something that looks they look like a fake
just
team,
standard
like
primary.
they're in a movie.
Well, right, they look like a USFL team.
Like any expansion, like the San Jose Land Sharks or something. It's like, come on, guys. Like remember, like in the '90s when new teams would come out, we're like, teal is that color.
Right, teal was very big in the 90s.
They gotta do something.
So bad.
It's messing with their vibe. I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's in college football, the teams with the simplest uniforms.
What about Devin Funchess out of Carolina? Now, Kelvin looked great, Kelvin Benjamin, but he really only had 3 or 4 receptions. They just happened to be big bombs, and one of them was for a TV, so he got a lot of points. But really, the volume seemed to have turned to Devin Funchess, who seemed very capable. I think he's a solid waiver wire pickup if you're looking for a flex.
I know Ron Funchess is hot right now.
Yeah, he's hot.
Ron, oh yeah, very hot. He's lost all that weight. Looks real good.
Real good.
Real good. Good for you, buddy. Let's see who else is out there. There's a lot of good guys. So those are the guys that I think that really need to be picked up this week. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else I really like.
Any white quarterbacks?
Oh, Mitchell Trubisky. Ladies and gentlemen, it was announced today that Mike Glennon is going to be sitting on the bench, and the Chicago Bears are officially moving into the Mitchell Trubisky area. Now, I would not pick up Trubisky off the waiver wire, but for owners of the 2 running backs, both Tariq Cohen and Jordan Howard, I think this is a major uptick for them. I think Trubisky's going to do far better in the passing game than Glennon, and that you're about to see the points you've been waiting for from Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen.
I believe that. That sounds.
I don't know who the hell he's talking about.
I don't either.
But I'll go with
legit.
it.
All right, thanks, guys.
I'm very excited.
I love it. I'm very excited. All right, so there's a lot of good stuff happening this week. We'll pick this up on Friday. We'll review Thursday night's game, the Patriots versus Tampa Bay, which they're in Tampa Bay, but the Tampa Bay defense has kind of been letting them down.
Tampa Bay players.
They've been the defense in Tampa Bay has been letting them down. They went up there and got shellacked by Minnesota with a backup quarterback. That was very surprising. And I think they lost again this week, didn't they? Didn't they just lose? Who were they up against? But they did not have a particularly good game, although Mike Evans did ball out.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Was that the Houston game? Or no? No, that wasn't.
Was that Houston?
I don't remember.
Mike Evans, I got Mike Evans projected for 14.
Who were they up against last week? Click on Mike Evans and let's see who he was on last week. See who he was against last week. But it was a little disappointing. Although Mike Evans balled out, I actually liked Deshaun Watson because he was up against was it the Giants? I think they played the Giants this week, and he was up against Janoris Jenkins, and it was the Giants, and I was expecting a lot more. I expected him to have a much tougher day, but Mike Evans, listen, there's a reason he's a first-round pick, because that guy is a fucking machine.
Yeah,
a points machine right now. And in fact, he's been far more dependable this season than Antonio Brown. And I thought Antonio Brown might struggle, and sure enough, he did. I thought Le'Veon Bell might struggle, but he went and blew that shit out, boy. Le'Veon Bell was the one piece that they couldn't slow down.
Anybody named after a main cast member from the Jeffersons, you got to take. Mike Evans, got to take him.
Got to take him. Got to take him. You heard it right there. Schimmel with the unique angle every single time. All right, guys. So, what a great week. Get those guys off the waiver wire. Tomorrow's the big day. Be sure and do it today. You get those. Yeah, I love Wednesday morning waking up. It's like opening presents. Like, let's see who I got. Let's see who I got.
What did I get?
Which, of course, when your team's a dog, you know who you're getting because you're in the first 2 picks.
Yeah.
You know, but when you're later down the draft line, you're just like, I wonder what happened. Who did I get here?
Who's going to be waiting with his bag?
Exactly.
What's up, man?
Exactly. Totally. So I love Wednesday mornings for that reason. It's a waiver wire Wednesday. It's
big
the best.
Black man with a suitcase.
It's just like, I'm here to help out.
Yeah, I love it.
It's like, all right, come in, grab a cot. You're on the team. So good stuff. Great having. Of course, give them your Twitter handle there so they can follow you.
At Freddie Lockhart, FREDDY LOCKHART.
Right over here, Jeff Schimmel. Just don't worry, he's inaccessible.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm at the Greg Wilson. This has been Fantasy Football, Harsh Reality. If you have any fantasy football questions, hit me up on Twitter, and I'll be sure and help you out with that. This has been a lot of fun. And all right, we'll see you guys on Friday.
All right.